I'm John Gubert, and I'm talking to you from NeMa in Dubrovnik. I'm with John O'Hara of Taskize, and John has been on the panel just now about blockchain. What I'd like to ask you, John, is there's a series of big innovations which are likely to come in the future. What does the business need to do now? How does it need to change? And how does it need to change its business and its IT architecture to prepare for these developments?
That's a really good question, John. Not an easy one. I think with any big innovation like blockchain, assuming it can deliver on its promises, you have to align your business with the technology. Technology has to be the servant of the business. And I think aligning people's interests behind blockchain, making sure that the dream of the cooperation, of the transformation of how industry is performed actually happens, understanding what the new business processes are going to be is going to be absolutely important. And getting the whole industry geared up and ready for change. It's an industry in post-trade that doesn't like change. It really doesn't like change. And in fact, for that regard, Taskize is actually about bridging the gap before we can have that innovation take hold, because innovation takes time. We've got something that helps people right now while we're waiting for the new stuff to come along.
Well, tell me, if I were a client and I were a potential user of blockchain or one of the other disruptive technologies, what would you be recommending me to do on my business model, given I would be a standard bank, should we say? I'm a normal classical bank. You know enough about banks.
Yes.
What is it that I have to do you believe?
I'd have to say wait and see. And that's purely practical speaking. And that's not the answer you want to hear. I think you have to be involved in the working groups, be in the discussions, listen, contribute, ensure that the business processes that come out of this, which will be very new business processes, very different to what we have today, suit and meet the needs of customers, and then wait for the technology to start to deliver. But it will take some time.
Well, one of my bets would be that disruptive technology, that a blockchain style, single valid point of information will come about. Yet when I look at the data that I hold within any organization, I have multiple instances of it, and it's often corrupt, it's often wrong, it doesn't agree with my counterparties. So is there anything I can do as far as data is concerned?
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation. I think you're completely on the money there. And blockchain is interesting because distributed ledger technology gives everyone a copy of the data. So no longer does one authoritative source has it, everybody has it. Now, we're a long way from having authoritative reference data in the industry. Even within a firm, even a mature firm, they have real trouble, as you've sort of indicated, of making their data high quality and standard and taking the errors out. And there are armies of people that are patching data every day. And that is going to have to be fixed. And there's no easy way to fix it. And as I hinted at before, having spent 20 years working in an industry trying to drive automation, we're still at a point now where as many people are involved in automation 20 years later as there were when we all started this automation journey. So how do we make the people more effective? And that's what Taskize is trying to do. We're trying to make people more effective. So when they're fixing those reference data breaks, they do it a bit faster. They can find their counterpart to make the problem better. They even it out. Because we absolutely want to see the day come when blockchain succeeds, when reference data is perfect across the industry, and when this is the industry that you dream it to be. I think if retail customers knew how banking worked in the back, they might be quite alarmed given what they're experienced to in retail experiences from Amazon and the like. And I think we owe it to ourselves and all the investment we made in technology in this industry to get to that level of goodness.
But can a single company sort out data quality on its own? Because data, by definition, is something you share with other people. It's not unique to yourself. So how do you get the industry together? I can understand getting a company together to try to, shall we say, manage the data, but how do you get the industry to manage data?
Yeah, I would question whether all companies are good at managing their static data. But that's definitely not the case.
I'm not saying
today.
they are, but
And
I
that's
can
the first
understand you
problem.
could get it together.
And I think there are a few world-class companies out there that really can manage this and show the way. And perhaps the way forward is because it's no one's interest for a competitor to have bad data. It might be that we start working to share best practice to actually harmonize how we maintain our data, so each house is clean in its own right as we move forward into an automated environment. I always said garbage in, garbage out, And if we go into an environment with blockchain and we haven't sorted out our static data, blockchain won't succeed. So I hope that the discussion that has come forward because of blockchain is a sort of poster child for making things better, will actually cause the less glamorous parts to attract some investment. I think you would know that the back office post-trade has historically not been as aggressively invested as the front office. And that time is changing. The whole supply chain has to get better. Front office is sorted out largely. Many fewer people there than used to be. HFT is a reality. A lot of good things happening. And now we need to turn our attention to post-trade and make it better there as well. And at last, perhaps the money will start flowing there.
John, thank you very much indeed. Challenges ahead of us indeed, and tough ones at that. Thank you.
John.